Right, you folk wanted that update on that noisy, clacky old TR7 engine. So, James is here. Say hello, James.
Hello.
There, James is there behind me. Woo! There we are. Glad you warmed your hands up. Right, okay. So he's taken the head off his TR7. The ball's all look in good order. So he's brought the head over here because he didn't have the deep throat for NAR. Valve spring compressor that you're going to need to get this thing off. Now this head actually looks in good order. And I've been doing Bob. Hello, James. So I've been doing Bob while he's all blushing now. While he was working on this, and he just said, "Oh, I've just found something." What did you find, James?
I will show you as I release the bolts.
Fucking hell. Right, now tip it over. That's picked something up in the oil, hasn't it?
So there's your cam, completely mullered, and that completely mullered, and this is cracked. So obviously something's got caught up.
Something's got caught up.
Open.
Yeah.
Look at that. You can't see it with the bolts in. You cannot see that crack.
No, absolutely not. Well, I had this problem when I had the broken main bearing caps on my Stag. Yeah, you couldn't see them. It was only when I started undoing the bolts that the cracks started to open up. For NAR. So I think what we need to do now is this thing needs to be stripped right down because
we don't know where that swarf is, do we?
Well, we don't know where the swarf is, but also if we're going to put a new cap on that, it's got to be line bored through, which is what these openings are for. So you didn't know that, folks? That's what the half moons are for, front and back. It's not just to leak oil. It's so they can line bore the new cam bearing caps. And we're going to have to see if we can get another cam bearing cap and get it line bored in. What fun!
There we go. Well,
what
that's an
fun.
easy fix after getting the head off.
Well, it means that the TR7 will probably stay as a 4-pot.
Probably.
For the one person out there that's grumbled about, oh my god, what they're doing to the poor TR7. And everyone else is epic, it's going V8. I must admit, I quite like the sound of a 4-pot TR7. I don't know about you, James.
Yep, no, it will probably be staying now. If we can get this fixed relatively cheaply, then...
Let's see what the rest of these are like.
Something's not wrong with him.
I know. Right, okay, so, bearing in mind this engine's been rebuilt fairly recently, and the caps have come off, we're seeing quite extensive wear inside the casings here for the cams. So there's been some quite nasty oil contamination. You see the tops of the buckets are fucked too.
A bit of swarf there, I've just pulled out the top of the...
Yeah. Now you had an oil pump go, didn't you? Sorry, water pump go.
Water pump went, but I can't see how water pump debris would get into here.
No, that's bogey, that.
Having said that, if it stripped the jack shaft, which it did, and then the oil was contaminated...
Yeah, but hang about a second, all that drops down into the sump.
In theory, it does.
Well, if you've got an oil filter, it won't bring it back into the engine.
That's what it's for.
Because basically, when the water pump strips the jack shaft, as I understood it, everything drops down into the sump.
Right.
And then the pickup should then identify all the crap in it. So you might still need to drop the sump off that engine and see what's in it.
Well, I took the sump off to find your little bit.
Oh.
I didn't look at the oil.
Right, so we're going to strip this thing down, like I said, completely. So we're going to be organised. I've got a box which I just brought over here. And I think what we do...
Let's get this other box out of the way. Yeah.
That box will do. That will do. So all I do is got one of these kind of little container boxes you get from, I don't know, B&Q. There's a good one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Starting from the front, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. With me? All the valves, we'll write with the pen that writes on turds, we'll just write the valve number on it and just load them all in there. Caps can go in there as well, all the nuts and everything. Just being organised when we take it apart, because we know that it was good when it came apart. Now, where's the cam?
In the box.
What we need to find out is whether that cam is toast or not. Now that shit there seems to be stuff that's melted onto the cam rather than... So this here is the remains of that. So I think that will polish out.
The cam, as you can see, looks brand new.
Cam's brand new. Barely been used. So I think that the cam will polish up. That one's got a bit of scuffing on it as well. We'll try it with a bit of 1500 grade in a minute. We'll see what happens.
Righto.
See if it cleans up. And again, it's all machine shop stuff anyway. Machine shop will look at that, they'll look at this, they'll tell you you're fucking dreaming. But it's a good straight cylinder head. Short while later. Magnet, and inside there is a shim stuck on the inside of the cover, that's full of swarf as well.
Yeah.
See the swarf in there.
I reckon this was rebuilt poorly.
Either that or your oil filter isn't working properly. Look, fucking swarf on that.
Right.
But the bores were okay, weren't they?
Yeah, balls are fine. I reckon it was badly built.
Yeah, you can see the swarf glinting. Right, Bob, welcome back, sir. Yes, got a small list of corrections and a bigger list of things that Rob wants me to do in addition to the original kind of work that was done. He's very happy with the car. Power steering belt squeaks quite a lot, and there's a good reason for that. It's really loose. I'm going to replace the belts. The belts are far too narrow for these pulleys. I need to double check what's going on there. So replace the belts. I've got a new speedo to go in. I've got a couple of bumper corners to paint. I've got ignition switch doesn't cancel, so I'll get that sorted out. So dash pod, ignition switch, radio. We want the radio so it doesn't kind of stay on all the time. I need to make some corrections to the carpet down here. On the back end, the tailgate doesn't open very easily. This handle needs Herculean strength to operate, and then, as is usual, you kind of have to bash the tailgate to get it to open. I'll fix all that. That all needs fixing. It's just down to the connectors on the corners. So silly little things. There's a couple of little paint chips around and about, but overall the paint's holding out really well on this. Looking nice, really nice. All the trim and everything. Oh, there's a big blob of paint there. This car might have rushed out a little bit. Forgotten how nicely these doors close. Put this one. Rob wants new quarter light seals. He doesn't like the kind of the cracked patina of the original, so I'm going to have to get these out and change those over. There's a couple of other things. Well, I can't remember what the list was now. Fuel tank. The fuel level sensor doesn't work properly, and also the fuel tank toilet seat lid it's not sealing properly, and because of that, fuel is kind of leaking over the edge here. It's not an uncommon problem, but it's a particularly undesirable problem, so we need to fix that. And I think it's basically there's too much play in that, so I'll look at that and find out what's going on there. Other than that, old window catch for the side here, and one of the seat belts doesn't work. But other than that, it's not bad for a shakedown. Not bad at all. Oh, the kettle's just boiled. I'm going to have a coffee, and then I'm going to get on with this. Get some of these jobs done. It's nice to have you back. Oh yes. Yeah, it's looking good. Grubby hands. Well, job number one done. Tailgate wasn't very easy to open or close. Handle now moves with one finger, and when it comes across right onto the open side, it does, he says, open. That side's gone tight again. Bastard. Just needs a tap. I'm going to have to clean this pin up here. It's that pin that's causing the problem. But otherwise, it certainly closes, and the handle is much easier to move. That was like a two-handed job before. Alright, done. Let's lube that pin up. Give that another go. So it closes nicely. Handle moves nicely. Opens nicely. There you go. Top tailgate closed. tailgate open. Beautiful. Just fucking beautiful. Right, now. Seatbelts next. Which one doesn't work? That one does. Except one of these seatbelts wasn't working. Well, they both are. I'll have to ask him. Both appear to be working. Oops. Close you. Oh. The spring has sprung. Shut, you bastard. Right, now let's do this dash next. Fairly straightforward sort of stuff to do. I think I might take the steering wheel off first of all though. If I'm dealing with that control there, because basically saying that the cancel doesn't work on the indicators. That's the wipers, because he wanted the indicators on the other side. So the cancel's not working on the indicator. So I'll get the steering wheel off, we'll have a look, see what's going on. When you're getting the steering wheel off one of these things, get one of these proper puller things that pulls it off. So basically, the steering wheel, as pretty much all Range Rover steering wheels, have got these two threaded holes either side of the hub, the boss of the steering wheel. And all you do is you put the bracket in there and then screw down onto the centre section. You more or less do it by hand every single time. I got this donkeys years ago, but you could probably fairly easily make one out of a bit of steel and a couple of threaded bolts. I mean, there's nothing particularly complex about it. The only threaded hole on this whole thing is the centre, and to be honest, you could weld a nut onto a piece of steel, which has got the thread through the middle of it, and replicate this thing fairly easily. It's a very, very, very basic puller, but that's what the steering wheel puller looks like for a Range Rover. You get a steering wheel off, even the toughest one comes off in about 12 seconds flat. Now let's have a look in here, see what's going on. Oh look, that's moved, doesn't it? So that one works. Well, that works now. I think it was out of alignment. So it does work. And oh no, it didn't actually work. It didn't work. It didn't actually click off. It sounds like it clicks off, but it doesn't. It half clicks off. How weird's that? Aha! What are we going to do about that? I get that round to there. Take the steering wheel off again. Might need that fucking puller again. This little fucker here, that's the cancel kind of pull, and it should have this clicking on it, but when you roll that past it, it doesn't actually close it, doesn't actually click it off. If, however, this thing is out further like that, it does click it off. But I'm not convinced that that is supposed to go like that. Doesn't look like it's even the right part for the car, does it? But then it's like a bird beak, isn't it? Right, let me go in the container and have a look, see if I've got a better one of these on one of the other steering columns. There you go, it's completely the wrong type of connector. That's why, I reckon. So let's try this type. Oh, it's much tighter, I'll give it that. A couple of little kind of minor service items. The belts were a little bit on the loose side. I've tightened those up. Happy with that. Changed the Speedo head for the original one that came with the car. So that's Bob's Speedo now. I had to have it recalibrated to accommodate the gearbox, the 5-speed gearbox. I've done that. Fixed the indicator, as you've already seen. got the radio, so the radio now doesn't stay on unless the key is in the ignition and at least in position 1. Oh yes. Rear window catch is on. I need to sort out, I'm going to look at the fuel filler in a minute. Tailgate opens and closes nicely now on both, so the handle really easy to operate as it should be. And then I was looking at we've got a problem with Bob's fuel gauge. So Bob's fuel gauge does not register. And I ordered another unit. This is funny, you'll like this. I ordered another unit and it arrived months ago. So I got the old unit out. Where is it? Oh, it's back in the tank. I popped it back in the tank. And then I went to go and put the new unit in, which is here. BMAC. Country of origin, United Kingdom. Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. There it is in there. I went to go pop it in, and as I went to pop it in, the float fell off it and into the tank. Yes. So I thought, oh, that's all right. I've got a float on the other one. So I pulled the other one off. Can you see that that is absolutely full of fuel? Can you see the bubble inside it? That's 7/8 full of fuel. Look. Ready? It's like a fire lighter. I don't know how the fuel got in there. There's a pinhole in there somewhere. Doesn't look damaged in any way whatsoever. In fact, it's like a hole there, do we reckon? So that's why the fuel gauge wasn't working, because the float had sunk. Honestly, what is wrong with a cork? Oh, fucking thing. Anyway, so that's going to pop this out here. I can go out there because it's full of fuel still. Yes, so because now I've got no float at all, I managed to find that there's a company online, Merlin Motorsport, might not be, I'll correct it underneath, that Merlin Motorsport are selling just the float that goes on here. It's a fairly common part that goes in on most British Leyland things. I mean, Land Rover will not have designed a float specifically for this car, so it's something that comes from the part bin. Now, one of the things that I thought, oh, that's a good idea, I got hold of one of the old box spanners in order to put the float in, because it goes inside it. However, it clashes with the exhaust manifold. So it was a nice idea, Tim. Exhaust manifold, exhaust mounting. Nice idea, Tim, but it didn't quite work. Yes, so far, this is going nicely. Job's going well. I need to take the door frames out tomorrow because I'm going to replace the seals in here. Let's go back in. Right. Well, it's somewhat of a gorgeous day today. Anyway, gone quiet over the road. Ignore the Polo, that's my son's. He turned up saying, oh, Dad, can we just do a couple of jobs on my car? Needs brake pads. Then he's fucked off to university. So, oh, thanks, David. Really helpful. Anyway, we're going to talk about this shambles. Really fuck it is a shambles. So basically, we've got a 1970s Range Rover chassis. No ID on it. Don't worry about shit like that. It's just a scrap chassis. It's got an engine and gearbox on it, which is good. Engine's going to be built up for Mr. Hammond. Gearbox is mine. Scrap back wing. Don't quite know what I'm going to do with that yet. There is a Range Rover axle in there. Oh, good. I need one of those for Mr. John's car, for the Lincoln Green. Seats. Yeah. So basically the tub here is off that Series 3 that you saw me taking apart. As you can see, it's pretty... yeah, it's just not pretty, is it? It's a bit of an eyesore. So I was going to start unpacking all this lot, really, because I just really want to kind of get it out of the way. The chassis, on its sort of chassis with the axle, is going to end up on top of one of the containers, I think. Just in case I need chunks off a chassis, I'll tidy it all up and get all the crap off it. There's a nice steering pump down there. I love that. I'll have the calipers off it. Yeah, the rest of it can really go on top of the container for now until I decide exactly what I'm going to do. And this is one of the chassis from one of those cars that had completely rotted out. You can see it. All the body mounts are still on the chassis. That's the extent to which that car had rotted out. Yes, nice. Absolutely rammed out with wheels. Might have to go in through the back door on that lot. Get them all out. I'll tell you another thing, I think those suspension bushes might have been a little bit past it. Yes. In which case let's see if we can get this open. It does open. What have we got here? Seat foam. Oh, Land Rover seats. Put you over here. Steve the Body's done a cracking job though, welding the sill on to David's car. I need to skim it back and give it a lick of paint, but that stands more of a chance of passing an MOT. And then I thought, well, what can I do in the drive? Well, I can work on the inside of the roof, getting the roof off. So yeah, the roof's off. Now I'm going to get these side panels off. I can't see too many problems, can you? Fucking things. Yes. I get the side panels off, and then this tub, once I've got the seat box off, of course the seat box is held on by a few fixings down here, and then a line of fixings along the back, all of which are rusted solid. I need to get the angle grinder in there really, but I just can't be asked to do that today. I'm just not in the mood for it, folks. So I thought, well, I'll get this off. What could possibly go wrong? Get these two side pieces off. Then I'm going to pack up and go home. Because I'm soaking wet. I've had enough. Filthy, oily. Didn't get me clutch done, but at least I've got it all apart now, so I can bolt it together when it stops raining. We're in May now, and it should be our summer really, shouldn't it? A short while later. In my best Joey Barton accent. Right, that's done now. Once I get this seat box off, this rear tub will be much more manoeuvrable. I can stand it up on its back over here by the container, and then the chassis is going to go up there. And the roof now is protecting engine and gearbox, which is much better, especially seeing as the weather is so inclement. Well, there you go. Not only have I cleared all the crap out of the back of the truck, I've moved the dead chassis, which is going to go on the container roof after I've got the engine and gearbox off it, and there's all the other stuff. And in here is an engine. Right. I have honestly had enough. I'm fucking knackered. But I got that over there, which is good. Because I can access it. Get this ready so that the chaps over there can just lift it straight up over the next day or two. And yeah, and then we're there. Ish. Fuck's sake. Heavier than you think pushing these bastard things around. I have to give that a nudge with the old circus truck. All hail the nudge bar. There we are, look. Telltale. Right.